The NFL owners they have voted, and the tush push will not be banned for the 2025 NFL season. And the Buffalo Bills and the NFC East were selected for Hard Knocks. We're going to talk about all of that today on the First and 30 Football Show. If you love the NFL, my name's Dylan Mel. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Let's talk about the tush push. The tush push ban was available, and I'm not going to bury the lead here. If yesterday's ban had been pushed through and have received the 24 votes instead of the 22 that it received, the NFL would have been ruined. It would have ruined the NFL. And the 10 teams that voted to keep the tush push saved the NFL. And I don't think that's hyperbole. And I know there's already somebody going to the comment section talking about the guy's an Eagles fan. Of course, it's not even about the tush push itself. It is about the language that was used in the rule proposal by the Packers, who I'm starting to believe a little bit that the Packers are just a stalking horse because they don't have an actual official owner. But I digress. The language in the rule proposal of you cannot push or pull an offensive player at any time, which you can't pull an offensive player as it is, but you can't push one at any time, would have caused a massive problem. Throw the tush push to the left right now. We'll get back to that play and we'll talk about my general thoughts on the specific play. But the language that was used in the rule proposal would have banned any 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, it doesn't even have to be a short yardage distance, goal line offense where your running back and the other team's defensive back collide. And they are at a standstill and the RB's keeping his legs churning and he's going and he's trying to get that extra, get that extra yard, get in the end zone, whatever it may be. And right now, we will see defensive backs come in, offensive linemen come in, and it's a pushing match, and it's usually, hey, they got the extra yard, or whatever it may be. Those plays would now turn into, there goes Josh Jacobs out the outside. Oh, he's met up with the defensive back and another one, but he's still fighting. The offensive line is just standing there watching, and look at that linebacker coming in, boom, teeing off on the running back. And now it's a 3v1 tackle, 3 grown men's body weight coming down on the running back. Nobody protecting the backside, the side in terms of offensive linemen. No additional cushion on the fall. A rule that was supposedly put in place to keep the league safer, which is the total BS that the people in the NFL who want to ban the tush push are hiding behind. That it's a safety issue, even though nobody gets hurt on the play, would have in turn made the NFL and the league less safe for running backs or wide receivers or tight ends or whoever's fighting for that extra yard, as they now are a target to be absolutely teed off on by defensive backs if they are fighting for extra yardage, because their offensive players would no longer be able to be behind them, assist them in finishing the play. That would have been the problem with the verbiage, with the rule proposed by the Packers. Don't get me wrong. As we sit here today, do I think the actual play of the tush push should be banned? I do not. Only one team in the NFL at this point in time can perform it at the clip that the Philadelphia Eagles can. That to me is skill. There is a clear skill that the Eagles have in running the tush push. Whether you want to claim it as a Jalen Hurts skill or the fact that they've gone from back-to-back all-pro centers and it's one of them skill, it's the combination of having both. Whatever you would like to decide it to be for the purposes of this argument is fine. But there is a clear skill in the play. Otherwise, in the AFC Championship versus the Kansas City Chiefs, the Buffalo Bills would have continuously ran it on those 3rd and shorts and been successful with Josh Allen. However, they were stood up, 3 times in that game. There is a clear skill with this play that the Eagles have that other teams do not have. And the idea of banning something because instead of figuring out how to be better or how to stop it, you would like to just remove it completely is a joke to me. And that goes beyond the verbiage of the really asinine rule that the Packers proposed. Let's just say, for argument's sake, that the proposed rule was let's ban the formation of the tush push that the Eagles use and effectively wipe away the play but change nothing else. You know, I'm sure there's loopholes in that, etc. But let's just say, for argument's sake, that they could have done that. Even I think that that's a bridge too far. I get it. Is it the best TV product? Maybe not. With the Washington Commanders and having Frankie Louvu jump the line over and over again because they're being a little ridiculous in terms of we just won't let them score. We'll make them run a different play to the point where the refs have to say we're just going to reward the Eagles the points at this point because you keep breaking the rules. You're griefing, essentially, a real life game. Is that the moment that Roger Goodell decided, hey, we got to knock this shit off? Maybe. But at the end of the day, I think it's soft to ban the tush push. If every team was running it at such a high clip that 3rd down and 2 became instant and 4th down and 2 became 100% success rate going for it, and it was really just boring and constantly being ran and constantly being executed at a high clip by every single NFL team and took away from red zone offense and goal line plays, and it was never anything different, sure, then ban it. But at this point in time, we've seen one team run it at the level that the Eagles do. And I think throughout the NFL season, more than one time, even successfully, we see a handful of teams run this play. And again, this brings me back to an example that I had in a video a few weeks ago about the banning of the tush push. If we are willing to ban plays simply on the merit that we cannot execute them, we don't believe we're going to be able to execute them at the level of another team, thus it gives them an unfair advantage, where does that stop? If Brandon Aubrey, who's the best kicker in football right now of the Dallas Cowboys, is able to start consistently hitting 70-yard field goals, but no other kicker in the league can make 60-yarders consistently, and only a handful of guys are willing to even attempt 65-yarders, would we meet the following year and ban 70-yard field goals? The answer is, of course, no. This is the same concept. Don't hit me with the safety concerns. It hasn't produced an injury yet. And this is the NFL. It eventually will. There will eventually be somebody who gets hurt as 300-pound men crash in on each other. The same way that there was injuries previously on regular quarterback sneaks. Patrick Mahomes blew his kneecap out on a quarterback sneak a few years ago. The same way that there are injuries on your general fullback dive or halfback dive plays, where it is close and it is meat on meat at that line. There will be injuries. I believe that if the NFL never banned the tush push, there would eventually be an injury on the play. That's football. But it's not like this is a play that, you know how they changed kickoffs because they were seeing a high clip of injuries. This is all theoretical. If you want to ban it, call it what it is. Say you are banning it because you don't believe it represents what you want NFL football to look like on your television screen. If you want to ban it, say that you want to ban it because you don't think it is a football play that you can compete with if you were the other teams. At least then, it would be respectable to believe that I could actually believe what you're saying. And you know what? Majority rules. Do I think it's weak? Do I think it's soft-minded? I do. But if the majority of NFL teams say, unfair, we can't have it, then so be it. But just be aware that you're walking a slippery slope. I think yesterday, the right outcome was had. For starters, the Packers rule that they proposed should never have even sniffed 20 plus votes. I think it would have been asinine and would have called for a rule adjustment potentially mid-season because of what I talked about with running backs more specifically, but additional plays where there's a little oomph at the end of it going away. Would have been ridiculous. But even at that, the year after the Philadelphia Eagles win the Super Bowl, you choose to ban the tush push? And I'd like to make one thing clear. I also said that the Eagles run it at a higher clip than anybody and are more proficient at it, and that's true. But mind you, third down and shorter or shorter, and fourth down and 2 or one of them and shorter, the Eagles aren't even top 5 in conversion rate. The Washington Commanders are. So, for how unstoppable and great you believe the Eagles to be at that play, they're not even number 1 in the NFL in conversion rate in third down and very short, or fourth down and very short. So whatever unfair advantage you think it's giving Philly, it's not. Me, personally, I stand on the side of, how about you just get better? How about you just try to improve? How about you try to master it? Because I don't want my quarterback to get hurt. Get a backup that could run it then. How many backup quarterbacks could you have run it? Call up Cam Newton right now. You're going to be our tush push guy. You think he could pull it off if he was back in football shape? Or do you think that there's more that goes into it and it's a cohesive team effort that you can't replicate? Because that's where it's odd to me. If these NFL teams think that it's a non-skillful play, but they just don't want to risk their quarterback, send in a backup. How has not one NFL team gotten a big body backup? The Packers kind of do it with their version of a tight end sneak. Why not do it with your third string tight end? The fact that these NFL teams talk about the play as if it's unstoppable, yet they never run it, is interesting to me. Because if you knew something was a cheat code that anybody could do, why wouldn't you do it? If you're so convinced that the other team is getting a massive competitive advantage against you. But I digress. The right outcome was had, and I'm happy that we're here to have it. My guess is next year we get back to these owners' meetings. The language is a little bit different, and it more so just bans the tush push formation, and that ban will go through. The NFL's been knocking on this door for far too long. I doubt they give up. They're 0-2, but here we are. 22-10 is the vote. The tush push stays. And of course, as all great things in the universe are, poetic, the Eagles beat the Packers in the wildcard round 22-10. So another 22-10 score that sees the Eagles coming out victorious over the Packers, even though the vote wasn't 22-10 in favor of the Eagles side. But you need 24 to overturn, change, bring in a new rule in the NFL. Let's talk about something a little bit more fun now, and that is Hard Knocks. I believe Hard Knocks this upcoming season knocked it out of the park. The Buffalo Bills will be your training camp team. Thank you. A team that we definitively know in stone is a Super Bowl contender. The Lions team that we had a couple years ago, they were a good team, but they weren't an excellent, amazing team. The Buffalo Bills have been in the AFC Championship multiple times over the last few years. They've been knocking on the door of a Super Bowl. They have an MVP caliber quarterback in Josh Allen, and that will be something super, super fun to see. I'm excited to see what Josh Allen is like at these practices. I think Deion Dawkins has the potential to be a star of the show. Keon Coleman is going to be one of the stars of the show. What's it with James Cook and his contract situation? Does he have one by the time training camp rolls around? We know he's asking for a ton of money. Does the team move off of him during training camp? What does some of the development of some of their young players look like for a team that is coming off of a heartbreaking loss in an AFC championship and again looking to contend for a Super Bowl? We have heard a lot about what Sean McDermott's motivation tactics are. If you know, you know. Stay away from that this time, McDermott. But again, I think the Bills for Hard Knocks becomes must-see TV. And I think that is what Hard Knocks should be. Don't get me wrong. I do like some of the, ideas behind following a rebuilding franchise. Looking at a team like the Browns, looking at a team like the Titans could have been interesting, seeing their situations. But man, sometimes you just want to see winners. Sometimes you just want to follow the best of the best. And I'm happy that this year, the NFL, HBO, and Hard Knocks decided, let's give them the Buffalo Bills, because that will be a very, very fun team to look after. And again, I'm excited to see what goes into, one, following up another AFC Championship loss to the Kansas City Chiefs, and two, a team that I do believe can win the Super Bowl this upcoming year, what their training camp looks like compared to previous renditions. And then the in-season Hard Knocks. NFC East. I don't know if it gets more entertaining. I don't know. I mean, the NFC North, I think, is a better division right now, but I don't know if it gets more entertaining than the NFC East. For starters, defending Super Bowl champ, Philadelphia Eagles, Sirianni, Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, a lot of personalities there, Big Dom. The Dallas Cowboys, America's team, the most popular team in the country, Dak, Jerry Jones. They were on Hard Knocks a couple years ago. Pretty entertaining. I'll say that. The Washington Commanders, now that they have Jaden Daniels in the building, they were just in an NFC championship last year. Is their progression linear, or is it similar to that of other teams where they steady out, even take a step back in year two? And the New York Giants, Brian Daboll, Joe Shane, kind of on the hot seat. We saw them on Hard Knocks last year, and that brought away some interesting things. Obviously, you have Jackson Dart in the building, Scadaboo, some interesting rookies. Malik Neighbors, now an established name. The NFC East, I think, will be competitive this year, especially because the in-season version, Philly and Washington, will not have played each other yet. So those two games are really going to matter. Dallas's tougher stretch of schedule is in the second half of the year, so I think they'll very much be alive for a playoff spot, maybe even a division title early on in the season, just based on what their record will be. So I think Hard Knocks has had some misses previously. I thought last year having the Giants as the focal point team was a miss. I know that they have a big market and it's New York, but I think we all kind of knew the direction the team was headed in last year, and it wasn't one that it was going to be super entertaining. Whereas I think having the NFC East as your in season division is a better look, and save the MVP of the league, Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, as the standalone team. I think that Hard Knocks is very well done. Obviously, there's some things that are left to be desired on a show like Hard Knocks, where you can't see it all, and you're not completely in on every room, completely in on every meeting. Why would these NFL teams give away everything like that? It just wouldn't make sense. You give a peek behind the door. You don't swing every single closed door wide open and say, here's how we run our franchise. Here's a good look at it before the season starts to every single team. Like, we're not going to get it like at that level, obviously. And Netflix has their quarterback and wide receiver shows that compete, and they're really interesting because they're more an in-depth look at a specific player, and they're giving shine to that. But I still enjoy Hard Knocks, and I'll be seated. I will be tuned in for the Buffalo Bills off-season Hard Knocks and the NFC East in season one. So I thought that was really, really well done. But that is all for this episode of the First and 30 Football Podcast. The Tush Push remains. Hard Knocks looks good. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you love the NFL and you're not yet subscribed to this channel, make sure you hit that button. I'll catch you next time. Peace.